We're looking at swords. Not the Japanese kind like I have right here in front of me. Switch it so you can see what I'm looking at. So we're not looking at this kind of sword this time. Reason being, I wanted a sword that everyone can wrap their minds around, that has all the parts that we're going to be looking at. So the kind of sword we're going to be working with is a European sword. And it's got all the classical components, same thing that these have. It's just a little bit better for to wrap your mind around. And then we're going to switch back to the Japanese swords later on to talk about how the parts are the same, but the names have been changed. So that said, let's go ahead and get into it. And yes, this is the model I put together earlier this week for this particular video segment. And what I've done is made a pull-out model that allows you to see all the parts separately. And today we're just looking at the blade and tang, more specifically the blade. And like it says here, they're one piece of continuous metal. The only reason it's colored differently on the model is because the part that would be the tang is generally covered by the handle and is therefore not coated with the oil, so it will have a little bit of a different look to it. Almost rusty, but not real rusty, just a different shade. So let's continue. Guess I gave myself enough time there to talk. I didn't realize I had. So if we zoom in on the blade and only the blade, and get a cross section, and the cross section is of that little part in red. And we're going to first look at the fuller. And the fuller is the indentation. And since there are two on most every blade, they're known as fullers. Contrary to what some people believe, these are not used to allow blood to flow down from the tip of the blade where a cut has been made in a person or animal it is instead put into the sword blade to make the blade lighter. It allows it to maintain the integrity of the blade without having to have what in other swords is a ridge going straight down the center of the blade. It avoids that, allowing it to be a lot lighter and therefore easier to maneuver. And of course, the part of the sword blade that everyone likes to think about when you're looking to slice something up or just avoid getting yourself sliced up, that's the edge. And most European swords will have 2 edges. There are some that don't. Your Japanese swords only have 1. And on the big full blade down at the bottom, the lighter gray section is the edge. Now the other part of the blade going the other direction is known as the flat. Real creative naming there. But it is what it is, and it is the flattest part of the blade. Also the part that will not cut you. Normally. I'm sure there are cases. But one important thing to note is there are swords that do not have a flat. And those are your fencing swords. Just because they are basically a long, thin strip of metal. And that is going to conclude this video. And next week we'll be doing part 2. So be sure to check back for that, where we're going to be looking at probably looking at the tang, because there are several varieties of tang that exist. And if you ever get into sword collecting or know someone who does, it is beneficial to know what kinds of tang there are, because some are better than others. And let's go ahead and switch back to this view. And I just want to tell you that for anyone out there who's a patron of mine, thank you for contributing and making these videos possible. And this video, the European Sword Components Part 1, is going to be available as a download on my DeviantArt page. Link is below. That's all for this session of Polygonal Art with JoRaSe. If you enjoyed what you saw, how about giving this video a thumbs up? And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out on future videos from me. In the video description below, you'll find my Patreon link. Feel free to check it out. Now, on to the credits.